Welcome to Natural Born Talents. In today's video, this is the last video on spiritual awakening or spiritual destruction. In the previous two videos, I talked about the possibility of pop culture influencing our history and evidence of past civilizations. In this video, I'm going to look at briefly the subject I find so dear, which is people. People's psyche, people's auras, and people's culture. All of this comes from my near-death experience, what I experienced in this world, and what my ancestors teach. Here again is Ben McBrady.
And that is why it was a primary function of the order to preserve language. Language is a kind of magic by which we trigger off telepathic transmission of messages between us. And if you look about the world today, we are becoming more and more confused, more and more cut off from one another. We're all living in our own little realms of unknowing.
On my last trip, investigating some of these structures that seem to be a little bit out of place, and some of the artifacts that seem to be from lost technology, the most fascinating thing to me was the people that I met. And I met all kinds. I met the clone souls, some call the NPCs. I met people who were corrupt, evil, and yet I met some people who were so deep, their culture so entrenched in their psyche, and yet they lived very simple lives. Some were young and some were old. It was pretty much a mixed bag. But generally speaking, most of the younger people seem to be enslaved by the present technology that is destroying the psyche of the human race. Let me give you an example. As I was going through some of the towns looking at the museums and artifacts and foundations of castles, naturally I got hungry and had to eat. Now normally I look for a good Japanese restaurant, but unfortunately the place that I was in had only a McDonald's, which I never go to. But something encouraged me to go inside. So I went inside and I looked, and the first thing I was met with was a machine where you can make your orders through your phone. And we all know what that's like.
A double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink, please.
Not interested in making an order through a machine, I went up to the counter which had one person, which was more robotic than the machines taking orders. Unfortunately for this poor soul, she was very unemotional and just simply said, "Can I have your order, please?" I tried to synchronize with her to find out what kind of aura she had, what purpose she was doing behind a counter at a McDonald's. Could pick up nothing. I made my order, got my ticket, and sat down. A few moments later, lo and behold, a woman slightly older than myself came up to give me my food. She was Japanese and immediately recognized that I was not and started to talk to me in English. Her English skills were not the best, and because of this I decided to speak Japanese to her. I asked her where she was from, where her hometown was, what she was doing in a McDonald's, and she immediately started to talk about herself, her culture, and she started to ask questions about me and my culture. And our conversation started to get so deep, it started to interfere with her work. Both of us caught up in each other's background. So she excused herself and went back to work. I ate my meal, and I went up to the counter where she was, and I thanked her. She immediately came out from behind the counter, walked me to the exit, and bowed deeply. I looked at her, and since I had been studying the way of the samurai for the past 35 years, I gave her a very deep samurai bow. Both of us knew the culture that was once so great in Japan was dying. The two of us were practically in tears. We both knew at that moment the alternative was not good. I have noticed since I've been working with children, as things become more and more automated, people become less and less spiritually evolved. Here is Ben McBrady on the subject once again.
This is the great dilemma of our times. We will never have an end to cruelty and war and oppression and greed and all these evils that we see bubbling all the time. This is a thing which I believe very strong. I know it. I don't just believe it. I know it. I see it about me and I sense it. There has to be a great revolution of the spirit. Otherwise, the world is finished. It doesn't need the atomic bomb. It doesn't need any of the worst horrors of modern technology, the smart bomb, mustard gas, nerve gas. We will destroy ourselves in some other fashion. But it's essential the amnesia is got rid of, that we get back to a state of primitive thinking, clear. Technology must be brought under proper control. We, in the order, we never condemn technology because it has given great benefits to humanity. It has taken away a lot of suffering and pain in medicine, and it has enabled knowledge to be diffused much better. But at the same time, it has outstripped the development of the spirit. And then the evil side of technology. We've seen its results everywhere.
And this was what is so precious to me and to my ancestors, is when we see people spiritually move forward, it is the greatest joy one can observe. There are many ways that can happen, and in my opinion, mostly through the culture that you live in. Destroying culture, to me, destroys the soul. Replacing it with technology is the evil side of technology. During my exploration of Japan, Okinawa, Celtic, and many, many other cultures, I found that some of the cultures have very similar practices, yet they're so far apart. And one example of this is Okinawa, somewhat Japan, but particularly Okinawa and the Celtic people. The Druids, of course, had the telepaths, but so did the Okinawa Yuta-san. Both were very well taken care of by the respective kings of those kingdoms. Not only that, the gods that they believed in, the nature gods that they believed in, are very similar. The shide they put around a tree in Japan is not so different than the stones they put around a fairy tree or any other sacred place. The story of Urashima Taro, about a boy who goes to another world and comes back only to find his world has aged hundreds of years, is not so different than Oshin and Niev, or Rip Van Winkle. The Oni in Japan are not so dissimilar than the Fomorians in the stories of the fairies, and on it goes. While there are very obvious differences between the two cultures, there are some similarities that are so strikingly similar it boggles the mind, that I find that perhaps the world history that we are taught is far different than what it really was. Even recently in Okinawa, in one of the old castles, they found old Roman coins. Now that could have been put there through the silk trade many years ago, but that is a curious find indeed. Now exploring this stuff can be a rabbit hole for sure, as some people have said. But on the other hand, exploring culture and developing skills within a culture is to me more worthwhile than anything technology can put out. Some people have made comments stating that communicating with people is increasingly difficult. It has become shallow, without the empathy, without the telepathy that we all once had. Are we really going to go this way and destroy ourselves? Or will the transition come and we all can get back to what we do best as humans, spiritually move forward? I will make a video on how to spiritually awake. I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding what spiritual awareness really means. And in my experience, I have seen all kinds of people from all walks of life move forward. Well, that's all for this video and this series. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you in the next videos. I will be getting back to auras. And thanks again for watching.
A double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink, please. Did you get my order? A double cheeseburger, onion rings, and a large orange drink. No, I want a cheeseburger. A double cheeseburger, onion rings.